So I just rewatched this week's Game of Thrones episode, and no spoilers, but while I'm still appalled at their incredibly stupid battle plans, I think it works a little better than I thought on the night. I don't feel like you should have to watch a show twice for it to work, I guess, but I don't know, a lot of the things that annoyed me on the first view didn't really annoy me this time, so I don't know. Anyway, Crystal here for Talk to Me Tuesday. It's been a couple months. I always seem to start my videos by talking about how long it's been since I last made a video, and usually it's because I haven't done anything that I feel like is worth talking about. And that's not the case this time, but most of you who watch this already know why I haven't been around, so I'm not going to go into that. There's really so much that I could show you. I have done a lot of sewing between February and now, but I'm going to tackle kind of 4 or 5 things, and then maybe next week, if I can, I'll do another video, and then I'll kind of hit a few more points, I guess. So True North B, still working on that. I'm gonna say it goes until August, so it'll be a couple blocks every month. So this month is actually my month, but it's also, there's 2 of us, so the other lady requested these pinwheel blocks, I guess, just in like pastel colors. Super simple, which was really nice. I also just finished last month's blocks, which I kind of hated making. They're Minecraft blocks. This is a pig, I guess, and this is a cow. I feel like I could put this in any given direction and it would look as much like anything as like what it's supposed to look like, but I don't know, whatever. It's for a quilt for a little boy, so I guess the things they like. The blocks that I've requested are disappearing 9-patch blocks. So I made this one, and also this one. So this is meant to be for something for my sister, although I'm so slow to finish anything that it could take for flipping ever. But basically what I wanted was black, white, red, gray. No variation. Red, I know, is a hard color to find. Like, really red is hard to find. It's easy enough to get like burgundy reds or maroon reds or I don't know, kind of cherry reds or whatever it is, but just to get like the purest, reddest red with white, super hard. I knew asking for it that it was probably going to be a hard ask and that I wouldn't get what I wanted, but I live in the dream. So these are a couple of the blocks that have, well, these are all the blocks that so far have come in. We'll see how it goes. If I have too many, some of them might land on the back, depending how they work in what I want them for. I do have a ton of blocks that I made sometime last year. So the whole thing kind of started with this set of fat quarter packs that my sister had picked out when we were at a quilt shop. And that particular set of fabric, that line, I can't remember what it was called, but it was only red, white, gray, and black, and nothing else. So that was kind of my starting point, and I do have, I don't know, 12 or 13 blocks that I had made from that line, and then I started making a few other ones, because I do have a bit of a collection of just pure reds. Anyway, I really shouldn't waste time talking about that, because I do have a lot to show you. So the last time I made a video, I was working on a scrappy trip around the world quilt with some fabric that I really hated. I still don't like it, but I do like it better now that it's all put together than I did when I was working on it. This is as best as I can show you, kind of, I don't know, what it looks like. I did put kind of a piano key border, and I tried to tone some of it down with this sort of pale blue-gray, I think it's Kona Cloud maybe? I'm not really sure, but I have enough of it that that will be the quilt back when I finally get around to quilting it. So yeah, there's that. My all people quilt resolutions for the year, I had a list of 12 quilts that I wanted to quilt, and I got January done. That was my, something just fell on the floor and I don't know what. January was the, what was January? The Carolyn Friedlander patchwork one that was just a whole bunch of white and Carolyn Friedlander prints. February was this little quilt, which I think I have it upside down right now, although I mean, really, who can say what's upside down and what's right side up with something like this? This pattern is called Posh Tot. It's a cute little quilt. It's really easy to make. I made the top probably 6 or 7 years ago when one of my friends' wife was pregnant, and I had made a boy quilt and a girl quilt and only finished the one that I gave away, so this one's finally done. I don't know, the color is probably coming out terribly because it usually does. There's something weird about purple that it just doesn't like to show on camera very well, but you can see I just did a really simple quilting job. All I did was kind of wavy lines with these bubbles every so often. I'm calling them bubbles. I feel like if this is supposed to be underwater, that's an awful lot of bubbles to be coming up, but that's okay. I did a lot of this quilting in February at a particularly bad time, and it kind of shows in some ways because if I were to show it close up, you can see some flaws. But I'm hoping that when I wash it, the flaws will kind of sink into the batting a little bit and not stand out so much on the top. But we'll see what happens. It is a charity quilt, or it will be, most likely. I haven't quite decided what's going to come of it. I don't like the idea. I'll say this about the flaws. None of them are bad enough that there's nothing bad that I wouldn't give to somebody I love. Because I feel like sometimes when something's not that great, people will be like, I'll give it to charity. But it's not the kind of bad that shouldn't be given away. Like, it's not like I should burn it in the fire pit in the backyard bad. It's just, not great. One of the problems is that I used a variegated thread, which makes like a nice color variation, but because when you spool a bobbin, it goes onto the bobbin in the opposite direction to how it comes through the machine, you couldn't like line up the colors so that the front and the back have the same color at the same time. So you would wind up with the lightest color on one side with the darkest color on the other. So anytime the tension was slightly off, you could see it on whichever side because I couldn't match it to make it hide. I guess, does that make sense? I know what I'm trying to say, but anyhow, that was February. March I did not finish. I put borders on it, which was one thing that I had to do, but I hate the borders. Like, I hate them. I think they're awful. If I could leave them off, I would, but it's just too small without it. I want it to be big enough that I can donate it somewhere, so I had to put on borders, and I didn't have enough of this color in order to extend it out, because I think honestly that would have been the best thing, would have been like 4 inches of this color. I don't know why, but I have a tendency to use these kind of weird background colors. Like it's a cross weave that's kind of made out of like maroon in one direction and burgundy in the other, and it matches this particular print pretty well. I don't know if that's even on camera. It does match the one print really well. And I had planned originally to use that print for the border, but when the time came to buy the borders, I couldn't find it anywhere. So all I could find was this stupid cat print, which I hate, and I know there's probably a lot of people out there that like it, but I don't. I think it's hideous. But I'm trying to remind myself that somebody will love it. I'm hoping that when the binding is on, which the binding is going to be this color, I'm hoping that it'll kind of make it hang together a little better than it does. We'll see what happens. If it still looks truly ugly when it's quilted, I don't know, maybe I'll have to just make it small. I just don't think I would ever find this exact cross weave again, and it's so hard to match in quilt store lighting because they usually don't really have very good lighting. I don't understand why, but anyway, it's a frustration. So I do still want to get this done. I'm a whole month behind on it, but I mean the goal is still to finish it this year if I can. And it's easier than April's project, which was supposed to be this quilt. So I'm not going to take the whole thing apart to show you, but it's basically just these big star blocks. Hopefully there's a good one showing. What I need to do is make and put on the borders, which is going to be some variation of these. I can't quite remember. I think there's a narrow white border and then maybe a narrow red border and then a thicker one of this, and then this was probably the binding, but I just don't remember what my plans were when I bought all of this. Anyway, if I get anything done, I'll be happy if I just get the borders on, and I can worry about quilting it later. I mean, a long time later. I have 10-year-old quilts. I have more than 10-year-old quilts, so, anything is good enough. So the next thing I have is another quilt that I did a pattern test for. I don't know where the top of this is. It's going to be a tough one to show. Oh, I got this upside down. Okay, so this pattern is called Mod Mountains. I only have about half of it showing right now, assuming you can see any of it on camera. It's basically vaguely mountainous shapes with, yeah, I don't know, it was so easy to make and I really love it. I kind of can't wait to see how it'll look quilted. Let's see if I can get more of this showing. Yeah, so I pattern tested this for somebody. It's a really big throw size. I think she called it throw, but it's very nearly a twin quilt size, I think. I think it's going to look really sharp when it's done, so hopefully I can tackle that one soon too. Anyway, that's going to be, can I shrink down to the camera? That's going to be it from me today. Hopefully I won't have another 2-month gap between videos, but we'll see what happens. Take care, everybody. Bye.